Yo, 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 this is Bruce James coming at you with another walkaway testimonial. You can find my first testimonial on the official hashtag walkaway campaign YouTube page. Look for hashtag walkaway, walking towards freedom. So this is me giving you another reason why I walked away and continually walking away from the Democratic Party. I refuse to be used as a political chump. I refuse, and that's what I'm walking away from. I'm walking away from being taken advantage of. I'm walking away from not having my voice really being heard. I'm walking away from not getting a return on my investment. As you can tell, I'm a darker skin, darker melanin. You can call me black, African American, or to quote KRS-One, I'm brown from the Boogie Down. Quote from my philosophy, Boogie Down Productions. Look it up for you young cats that don't know, your old school classics. So it's no secret that people who look like me in this country have voted as a monolithic group at least 80% for the Democratic Party in almost all kinds of elections: mayoral, city council, senate, state legislature, governor, and yes, presidents. In fact, Barack Obama got 95%, a whopping and historic 95% of the black vote. But are we getting a return for our investment? Are we getting in our communities better schools, better housing, better living conditions, more jobs, more money in our paychecks, safety, whether it be safety from police brutality and true reform in the police system, or are we getting increased safety from the people in our own community committing acts of violence? I say the answer to that is no, and I'd be hard-pressed for someone to tell me otherwise. Look at what's going on, for instance, in the city of Chicago, escalating violence year after year, thousands of people shot, hundreds, as many as 700 people getting shot each and every year, or as little as 600. What's sad is usually as little as 600 people a year, at least a year, 600 shot, dead in the city of Chicago, with only 17% of all of those homicides being solved. That's not acceptable. But do you see any change, any bettering of the condition? You know, we know for a fact in a lot of these schools, they ain't learning crap. They ain't learning nothing in these schools. A lot of them are glorified daycares or glorified babysitters. I want to give a shout out, though, to all of the great teachers out there, hardworking, dedicated teachers that put in like 80 hours a week, not being paid as much as they probably should, and oftentimes coming out of their own limited pockets to bring or supply supplies to the classroom. But I'm attacking the system in which is failing our young people as a whole. City of Chicago, 2014, for instance, and this is why I say glorified babysitters, only 20% in 2014 of the 8th graders were proficient in mathematics. Only 21% were proficient in reading and English. That meant a whopping 80% were either basic or below basic in mathematics, 79% basic or below basic in reading and English. All studies show that 8th grade is the peak of your academic success. You're either going to continue down the path as a straight line of what you've been doing, whether it be economic success or just mediocrity, or your grades decline as you go into high school. One of the two. And if you're right now at a basic level and or below basic and getting worse, you're likely going to drop out of school, or if you do make it through school, my question is then, with results like that, what do you expect them to be prepared for when they are done with school, whether it be by choice or they made it through all 4 years with their diploma or GED? What kind of jobs are going to be available to them? What kind of jobs are they going to be qualified for? And it's not even really all about being able to make it to college either. It's about having a skill, because if you have a skill, you've got a job and career and income for life, whether it be fixing cars, fixing pipes, electrician, doing hair, what have you. We don't have a system that is preparing our young people properly one way or another, and it seems to be geared towards academic progression in college, and they're not even doing that right. And as a result, you have a lot of kids who either stuck with going through the golden arches with their diplomas and straight onto their waiting to make jobs. You can not raise a family on that. You cannot build a future off of that kind of income. And a lot of them then look at that and say, yeah, you know what, you're right. And so what's going on in Chicago? They're getting involved in gang activities. They're getting involved in these various gangs. Why? Because they can see the fast and easy money. In a lot of cases, they're making $1,000 a day, or $1,000, more than $1,000 in a couple of days, thousands in a week. That's easy money. It's hard to knock. I mean, as some would say, it's better to be rich and guilty than poor and indigent. And we have a system that's not trying to change that, not trying to address that underlying issue as to what is causing the degradation in these communities. We have a Democratic Party that's not trying to fix the educational system because it works for the unions that fund them and their agenda. God forbid you go up against the union, then you find yourself ousted, as did the mayor who made Michelle Reed the superintendent for Washington, D.C. He saw the full wrath of the teachers union coming down hard against him, putting all their money into his political opponent, ousted him, and then Michelle Reed was next. Look what happened to Governor Walker in Wisconsin. Upset the feathers of the unions there in the state of Wisconsin. They organized a recall, which of course he won, but that was a lot of work, a lot of money to fight a machine that is the unions. Democrats aren't trying to better the system because they're owned by the system. They're not trying to find ways to fix the community, bring more jobs. Why? Because they're not held accountable. They're not held accountable because they've managed to paint a perfect narrative that the Republicans are nothing but racist, xenophobe, bigots, or the only other reason why you would be a Republican, especially if you're black, is because you're some rich, bougie doctor or lawyer who makes a lot of money, and so you want to protect a party that's all about keeping money in your pocket as a rich person. They're not telling you that there are policies both from the Libertarian side and Republican side that are about just putting money back in your pocket as a proletarian, who may only make $32,000, and I don't want to say only, but may make $32,000 a year, so your weekly paycheck may look somewhere around the ballpark of $800 to $960 every 2 weeks, or at best $1,000 every 2 weeks, $2,000 a month. All right, and so they're not saying, oh, we're trying to lower taxes for you too. We're only trying to lower taxes for the rich. No. It doesn't really work that way. But again, they've painted this successful picture that if you're on this side, it's because you're rich and they're not looking out for you, or you're a xenophobe. And they're like, you know what, you're not going to vote Republican. Let's call a spade a spade. And so they don't have to do anything to earn our votes. And so that's what I'm walking away from. I think we need a system where they are competing for people's votes each and every year, each and every election cycle. And right now, they don't feel the need to compete for the black vote. They rather pimp themselves out and really sell themselves for the Hispanic vote, which nothing against Hispanics. I love Hispanics, love them to death. With disgusting, love you all. But right now, they're bending over backwards to appeal to Hispanics, passing all of these laws to try to get them into the voting booth, to try to get that block for life. They're putting illegal immigrants over the issues affecting the black community. They're really trying to push things that they feel as though playing identity politics will appeal to Hispanic or Mexican Americans in this country, and driving that home. Let's make this a sanctuary state, make this a sanctuary city. Let's pass laws to try to get them driver's license, get them registered to vote, to make them citizens, and all the while ignoring what's going on in other communities in this country, particularly the sufferings and problems plaguing the black community. God forbid they really put a spotlight on Flint, Michigan to make sure that that water is what it needs to be. God forbid they enact policies that help spur economic growth and bringing jobs back into this country by maybe lowering taxes or lowering regulations. They can do whatever the hell they want and still ignore the problems or not worry about fixing the problems in the black community because they got our vote as a whole. Well, I'm just saying this is one less vote you've got until you've showed me, hey, I want your vote back. I want your business back. Come on. All right, so until then, until you give me a reason to vote for you, until you start addressing the issues that are affecting people that look like me across this country and the neighborhoods until I see improvement and or positive change. I am going to continue to walk away. You've got nothing but my back. So this is me saying, peace out, Democrats. I'm out.